Welcome, everyone. I'm so happy to see all people here. Probably more people are going to be joining soon, I expect. That's the way of it these days. But I just wanted to say thank you for showing up and considering being a club officer trainer. But it seems like maybe some of you here already have gone down that road before. And in the second round of round two, what they call of the Toastmasters club officer trainings, we're going to have our first one coming right on up, and I'm going to have Donna explain about that one, and then we'll have 4 months. The dates have not been set yet, but then I'll be scheduling club officer trainings for the rest of those. So, Donna, why don't you give a little word?
Well, thank you, Linda, and good evening, friends and fellow Toastmasters. This year, for this second round of Toastmasters Club Officer Training season that officially kicks off at the beginning of November, I am the official TLI, or Toastmasters Leadership Institute chair for this second round season. And to help initiate, to kick off the new season, I have a full slate planned. The TLI chair, or excuse me, the TLI event that will kick all this season off will be on November the 5th from noon to 4 that day. And Linda, did you want me to go ahead and share my flyer content now, or do you want to wait until the end of Rebecca's training?
Why don't you go ahead and share it now, and then I'll call you back up at the end as well.
Let's see. I guess I don't have sharing capability right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're not on my account. That's why. Okay, go for it.
All right. There we go. That looks better. Okay. Let's see. Can everyone see my? No. Okay. It's coming. Okay. Now, can you see my flyer screen?
Just black.
Excited woman. Ready to
launch? It's being very slow, Donna.
Okay. Sorry about that. It's showing on my side that it is in share mode. No, you still can't see it, everyone?
Nope.
No.
Nothing.
I'm sorry.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so now you got it? Okay.
Yep.
So this is okay, so this is the information. Let's see. First of all, let's scroll down here. I'm sorry. So I'll provide, whenever I'm through with my little spiel here, I'll go ahead and provide the URL for the registration for November the 5th. As I say, it's from noon to 4 that day. And it's going to be the theme that I have chosen has to do with fun with leadership, educate, motivate, and inspire. And it's going to be an action-packed day of specialized trainings, fun, interactive sharing events that everyone is going to love. And we're going to have a keynote speaker by the name of Rebecca Murray. And she's going to be inspiring us with a great keynote. And as I say, it's going to be a fun, interactive day. And we're even going to have two opportunities to win a prize with Wheel of Toastmasters. That is very, very similar to Wheel of Fortune, but for Toastmasters. So that's another great reason to partake and enjoy and come. It's going to be completely 100% online, all virtual. And as I say, I will put the registration link that you see here on the screen in the chat. And back to you, Linda.
Donna, thank you so much. Very good job. We're looking forward to November 5th.
Thank you.
So tonight, get ready to roll up your sleeves and dive in to explore how to facilitate a dynamic club officer training. You'll leave tonight ready to raise your hand and offer your services to conduct a training in D2's leadership training cycle. Without further ado, let's welcome our facilitator for tonight's session, the one, the only, the toaster of the moster. Okay, I know that's not really a real word. Distinguished Toastmaster, Rebecca P. Murray.
I love making up words, just like Mary Poppins did with supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Totally made up word that P.J., now I'm going to forget her last name, the author of Mary Poppins, told them to unmake it up. told the Sherman brothers, well, you could just unmake it up. But they kept it in, and it's a fabulous song. And of course, we know we all love Mary Poppins. Tonight, we're going to talk about how to facilitate a club officer training and also infuse the fun for everyone, so everyone learns. As Ralph Smedley always said, tell me, who knows what Ralph Smedley always said about enjoyment and learning? If you know, unmute and tell me. Nadine's going to unmute. No, you're not going to unmute. He said, when we enjoy things, when we're having fun, then we can
We
learn.
learn best when we enjoy it. Yeah, we learn
That is-
best during when we're enjoying it.
Moments of enjoyment. And he was absolutely right. We certainly do. Tonight, we're not only going to talk about enjoyment, but easy, how to make it easy on the facilitator, because when the facilitator doesn't have to think about too many things, the facilitator can also enjoy him or herself. Along those lines, I have some tools I'll share with you. We'll go through them tonight to make it easy peasy. We'll have some time for a Q&A if there are any. But before we do that, I'd love to hear from each one of you present tonight to share with us what club officer trainings have you done in the past, specifically in the virtual format, and what is one thing you enjoyed and perhaps even one challenge that you faced. So let's start with Roger.
I'm thinking that the only one that I did formally was I did vice president membership one in the year that I was area director. Other than that, I celebrated 20 years in Toastmasters in June. So I've been around a few blocks. I just haven't been treasurer.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Nadine, how about you?
Thank you, Rebecca. I also did vice president membership and I loved it. It was really a great learning experience, like all Toastmasters. And my takeaway is I would have liked to interviewed the members first. So I would like, we did an introduction, but I would have liked to maybe have done a better deep dive, more of a deep dive at the beginning of the session.
Yes,
That's
let's talk about that. Exactly. Find out where everybody is in terms of, have they ever performed the role? Is it their first time or their second, third, and so forth time? Are they a veteran or a beginner? That's always a great thing to know. Donna Smith, I know that you've done quite a bit of training. What have you done?
Well, I haven't done trainings as far as club officer type trainings within Toastmasters. I have never done one of those, either in the virtual environment or in person. And also I have not been a club officer in any of my clubs for about the last 2 years since before COVID started. So therefore, I have not attended a TLI or club officer training in the virtual environment. But I have
It's true confessions here tonight. There we go. Donna, go ahead.
I mean, I always like to be honest and open and share whether people approve of it or not. I like to share my experience. But as far as some advice or takeaways, etc., from the in-person melee, back then they were called melees in our district, at least. And I always enjoyed the interactivity about the round. Okay, so we're talking about within the actual breakout areas for the respective officer.
Right.
Role. So I always appreciated the fact of maybe time slicing or going back and forth that the instructor would do with their audience, where they would instruct for a while and then they'd have like an interactive around the room knowledge share, hopefully making it fun type of activity that would showcase or inspire, bring to light what it is that they had just taught us. I always, I think I maybe attended one session like that when I was a club officer that was actually structured that way. I remember that it worked well the one time that it happened. But
well, great. We will talk about how to basically mirror that process in the breakout rooms in this session tonight. So that's exactly where we're going. And Linda, I'm not going to call on you if that's okay, just for the sake of time. So there are a few things that I will be sharing with you. One, Linda, if you wouldn't mind dropping the link in the chat to a Google document that is a run of show for an hour-long session. In the TLI that is coming up, we will have all officer breakouts will have their own Zoom room, just as but it will only be 60 minutes. So I provided here a 60-minute version of a club officer training. There are also going to be many club officer trainings following the TLI. Many of those will be 90-minute sessions, except for the one at lunch, which will definitely be 60 minutes. So if you have a 90-minute session, then you have time for another breakout room. And breakout rooms are wonderful, of course, if you can set them up properly with the right dialogue to get people talking, come back, and then diffuse some of that to share some of that out, some of the things that they've been talking about with everybody else. Let's take a look at that run of show real quick here and just run through it for you. What I've done in the top where it says, please watch this video in blue, when you click on that link, it takes you to a breakout room session that has a club officer training, a president training that I did that had one breakout room, and you'll see exactly as I set it up. And we'll get into the why I did it the way I did it. And it's a little bit different than Toastmasters International takes us through the guidelines and the PowerPoints and stuff, things like that. I don't tend to use much PowerPoint at all. I use people as my props, I always say. So getting people talking and let their fingers do the talking, let their mouths do the talking, and put them in breakout rooms so they can talk some more. So this video gives you an excellent example of exactly how to do that. And it ties together with this exact run of show, the 1 hour club officer training. So to put your team together, since you will have your own Zoom room, and as Nadine mentioned, things happen where somebody might not show up, so that having redundancy in your team in terms of skills is absolutely essential in case one person is not able to make it at the last minute. You need a Zoom host, you need a timer, you need a Toastmaster, and they all need access to this run of show. It is highly, what's the word I'm looking for? I would invite you to strongly consider having a team meeting prior to your COT to make sure that everyone is literally on the same page. And if you have to make tiny adjustments, everybody sees them in real time through a Google Doc such as this. Copy this, share this, use this. It's also a great idea to have another sheet that has the names of everybody on your team, the email addresses, the phone numbers, the link to the meeting, and all of the links that you'll be sharing out throughout the night. Everything on one document, and then this is your run of show. So as we go through the timing here, then you can see in this particular run of show, the Zoom host gets there 15 minutes early, opens up the room, and just gets things, just is there. The rest of the team comes in, and then if you do have a waiting room or don't have a waiting room, people can filter in, but you're going to start exactly at 12. that is when your Toastmaster will read your lovely, fun and inspiring, incredibly entertaining introduction to get everybody ready to lean in and listen from you. Because remember, on November 5th, they've already been sitting and listening for 3 solid hours. So make it fun, make it interactive. I always say, let your fingers do the talking. So have some things in the very beginning where people are chatting with each other. You're repeating back what you're seeing in the chat. You're recognizing people as they come into the room, having the participants panel open, saying hello to everybody, as many people as you can before the meeting officially starts. And please, please, please have your doorbell turned off, because who needs to be listening to ding dong, Avon's calling as you are moving through your meeting? No one wants that. So here we go. We have just a very brief introduction, and then you have, as the facilitator, and I don't call you a trainer, I call you a facilitator, even though it's a club officer training, because you are facilitating the meeting, you're facilitating conversations. And like Donna mentioned, you're facilitating the idea that we are in a room together, sitting around in a big circle, versus the sage on the stage, the trainer here, and everybody, sitting in front of them, learning and listening. We're all in this together. Kind of a vibe is really what you want to bring forth in your training. So as you are going through your material, and we'll get to that in a second, and again, make it your own. And you'll see when you watch that president's training how I made it I didn't show a single slide from the Toastmasters slide deck. I did show a few slides, but they were my own, and they tied into leadership specifically. As you're doing that, the Zoom host is going to be preparing the breakout rooms. I found it in a 1-hour session or even a 90-minute session. I might change it up a little bit because I'd have more time. I could put more people in a breakout room, maybe 5 or 6 people in a breakout room if I have 90 minutes. But in a 60-minute session, you don't want to put any more than 3 or 4 people in a breakout room together, because the goal is everybody talks, and it is the breakout room facilitator that is going to ensure that everybody shares something. So here are this is what I did, and you can when you look at your own officer duties, those will guide what questions you would have your facilitator bring forth or share in the room. So here I have very specifically breakout room example. This is an example. Person who's been the president the longest goes first. So person that's been the treasurer the longest, like I've done it 10 million times, I'm going to go first. And I actually have never done it once, but that's just an example, is a facilitator, and make sure that everybody has ample input. As a facilitator, you can also then choose somebody to be a timer, or just keep note of the time, because you have 15 minutes, and your job is to make sure that everybody has a voice and answering these questions. First, introducing yourself, your club, and then what's working for you in terms of A and B. Just 2 simple things. Just come up with 2 simple things. The Zoom host then is going to be putting these different messages in the broadcast messages into the breakout room to make sure that everybody's aware of the time. And you can also paste these instructions. Whatever instructions you have, your Zoom host is going to be pasting those in to the chat as well before everybody moves off. What I also do is I create a slide. I put these instructions on the slide, and I talk through them so they get it in the chat. They see it on a slide. They hear it from my voice. Then I ask, are there any questions? Please unmute if you have a question. Typically there are none. And then they're whooshed away into the breakout rooms. So when they come back from the breakout rooms, the tip of the day then is to keep the breakout room panel open So you can see who is in every breakout room. And you'll notice in the video that I share, I have it open and I'm reading, because many people don't take note of I'm in room 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They come back and they're like, I have no idea what room I'm in. I'm one of those people. I have no idea. So you tell them, great, in room 3 we have, and then you read off the names because everybody loves hearing their name. Will one of you please raise your hand who would like to share a main takeaway from your time together? That person then is spotlit, they unmute, and they share a takeaway. And part of this is to tell everybody, if somebody's already shared your takeaway, you're going to share a different one, so that we have a lot of variety here. So we summarize the takeaways then. This, let me move this over here. We can move down here. This thing is very touchy. So here we're going to, I put all of those instructions here written down for you. Then at the end, you're going to summarize the key takeaways. We're going to ask people to put one thing in the chat that they're going to put in place in their club or share with their club the instant they get back to their club at their next meeting. And they'll be sharing all the links furiously in the chat. Try to read some of those out. Have a great takeaway message. Then you're turning it back to the Toastmaster. You're going to stop the recording, share the survey link, say goodbye, and that is that. Now I will show you what Toastmasters gives us to use. I think it's good to look through it. Again, I sort of do my own thing in terms of, just because I want to make it wholly engaging. I have seen people just use the slide deck and go through, but I'm not recommending that, but definitely to read through it. So here are the resources that Toastmasters International gives us. So this is the club officer training. There's one of these. If you go to Toastmasters International and go in the search bar and just type in club officer training in the search, it's going to take you to a page that's going to have every single type of training, including all the club officer trainings listed there. And when you scroll down, you'll have the opportunity to download 3 things. One's a PowerPoint deck. One is a PDF, which is the PDF version of the PowerPoint deck. And then the other is this long guide, which takes you through. If you had 90 minutes and you did 2 breakout rooms, this really is more set up for that, even though it says it's an hour-long training. I wouldn't try to fit 2 breakout sessions in an hour-long training, not one where you want people to have enough time to talk. I don't think it works very well. So we've gotten through basically everything you need to know in 15 minutes. I do encourage you to watch the video though, or at least skim through it and take a look at the timing and how it matches up perfectly with that run of show in terms of the 3-minute introduction, the 20 minutes of talking that's very interactive. There's, of course, we don't record the breakout room, and then it goes right to engagement, people sharing, and then the one thing at the end. And the hour goes by like this, lightning fast. It's lots of fun. And I think that we can use Mary Poppins principles here as well to find the fun for everyone in the club officer training. And now, if you have any questions or suggestions, Donna, actually, I think we've already talked, but when I put together the last TLI, I had a phone call with every person and a meeting with every person who did a COT. And I shared with them to keep the vision of the round, sitting around in chairs, sitting around a circle. And most of them did that. The feedback that I got from the survey indicated that most of them did that. I believe one of them did not, and that person also showed the slides, the TLI slides. So those were the least favorited results from the survey, because it just wasn't as engaging. Simply, it just wasn't as engaging. People like to hear their own voice. So that's why I'm going to ask you for you to unmute now, and we can just have a conversation for the next however long. And if you don't have any questions or anything to say, then we can go on our merry way.
Well, I like the idea of the takeaways, coming back with the takeaways. And I think that's something that I personally wanted to know as a trainer when I trained. And then I think people need to reiterate what they believe or what they take away. So if they
Yes.
repeat, this is what the strength that I gained. And if they
Yes,
say
good.
that, I think that enforces it. That's
Mhm.
one thing. Another thing, in addition to the deep dive at the beginning, I want to add that takeaway, that engagement and that kind of reinforcement.
Yeah.
One of the best things I have done as a Toastmaster is try to remember to summarize a meeting afterwards. I don't do it anymore. And I think Dana, you remember that, Linda, from our Eastside Leaders meetings would send a summary, and I love that.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I
Right.
remember that. That was a great joke or whatever. And so the engagement and takeaway is something that I want to add. And I also like the circle, because we can't, while we're not meeting live, we can imagine it. We can imagine
Yes.
the circle.
Yeah.
That's a great, we have to use our imaginations a lot these days, right?
Yes, we do. Yes.
Okay. Oh, and the other thing, who is in the breakout room? If I'm not the Zoom master, we just talked to the Zoom master, or Donna, are we going to each have a Zoom master? Is that the idea? Do we know? Or, well, I guess we're going to have our own separate sessions. So if we have one breakaway, how do you find out who's in your breakout rooms? I haven't done it.
Well, let's talk about the Zoom master first. So
Yeah.
Donna, are you going to be asking people to curate their own team?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Okay.
done that, and I will
Okay.
continue to do that as the rest of the roles are filled. Yes.
Okay. That's great. So what the Zoom master does then is they take a look at how many people are in the room.
Yes.
And then they say, okay, 3 to 4 people, they set their breakout room up. So let's say there's nine people, they're going to have, they'll have 3 breakout rooms with 3 people each.
Mhm.
There's 20 people, they'll have 6 breakout rooms with, most of them will have 3 and 2 of them will have 4. So there'll be some variety depending on who shows up. That will.
Is Linda, did I hear Tom Hager said is he going to be running it, doing a Zoom training, Zoom master type training? Did I hear that?
Yes, currently it's scheduled for October 20th, but I haven't advertised it yet.
Right.
And I might possibly change that date. I was trying to figure
Yeah.
out, I realized the other day that I really needed one Zoom master for Donna's TLI, but then everything changed last night. So I think now I do need to do the training before Donna's November 5th. So
yeah, because you're going to need 8 Zoom masters all
Correct.
total.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why it was going to be on October 20th.
Mhm.
So yes, I was going to personally do the training, and I asked Tom Hager and Tommy Price to both sit in, not to prepare anything, but just to sit in and then catch anything that I miss, or just add and give their perspective. I don't want to create them another, like here, do a big training. It's just like an hour, just like tonight, just kind of a, here's, and it's specifically how to be a Zoom master to make breakout rooms for club officer trainings. It's not just to do everything Zoom master.
Yes.
In other words, it wouldn't be how to be a Zoom master of a contest, because that's different. Yeah. So it was just going to be focused on club officer training. So it's kind of a just in time.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, Linda, because, I always feel a little uneasy when I talk about when something's being recorded, and I'm worried that it might be shared. When I talk about Toastmasters, their materials, that I'm not a fan. Like Donna and I have talked about this. We're like, oh, so I don't know about putting this video out there, because I don't want to diss Toastmasters. I don't want them, but I really would prefer, if I was going to a training, that somebody not be working their way through that deck.
We're all Toastmasters. We can tell when somebody does it.
I just, did
You
you
can
see, did you
spot
see
somebody
me?
narrating a canned PowerPoint.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's not an engaging PowerPoint, it's a very boring PowerPoint.
And
And,
what
Yeah, you'd expect better of Toastmasters, wouldn't you?
mhm,
I think one way of saying that is, we're continuing to evolve, and I believe that, especially in this Zoom world, digital world, we're continuing to evolve. And I was even thinking that, as far as Zoom versus like my corporate clubs have Microsoft Teams, and do an adjustment coming back to Zoom, or going back and forth between Teams and Zoom. And so just different venues that we go beyond just maybe not being limited. You might want to say limited to one,
mhm,
limited to the textbook, so to speak,
right.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, very diplomatic.
Well, it's interesting because you have purists that say we need to do what's exactly in the
Mhm,
in scripted. And yes, we need to want to address these requirements. At the same time, I was told, I think way back when we had the books, remember when we had the
Yeah.
workbooks?
Yeah.
And I remember, I think Anna Margalina, she said, you don't have to follow this exact workbook. She said, just be creative. You can still get the message across with creativity.
Yes.
Well, maybe it's more of a workbook than a textbook. That might be another way of saying.
Workbook. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. Very good. Very good.
But yeah, I look forward to. I wanted to hear the Zoom Master training as well, because that's something that I want to master, or to.
Yeah, great.
It's fun.
One of the best suggestions I heard from Rebecca this evening is the idea of having a facilitator in the breakout room. Toastmasters are no better than tax pros at being self-organized in breakout rooms. I know even if I know very little about the subject, when H&R Block starts a breakout room, I know I have to be the facilitator. I'm the Toastmaster. I can get the thing going, but
right.
But even
Yes.
Toastmasters, you burn at least half your time before somebody figures out who's in charge and what the question is.
Right. And the beauty of having the person with the most experience be the facilitator, they know the most. So they're asking everybody else to come up with the answers, because they have a lot of the answers. It just would not be great if they were just blah blahing all of their answers. So they want to get people to think, and they'll learn some new things too. Like, wow, I never thought about it that way in 20 years, that sort of thing. So they can put their 2 cents in, but really their job is to make other people think and get them to
Well, when
share.
we were doing Melees live, we always recruited the team who was going to facilitate the breakouts. But the last couple I've gone to online, it's random people thrown into a room and we're supposed to self-organize.
Yes.
Not near enough time to answer the questions.
Right, exactly. If you spend half your time organizing, right? Yeah. So give them the questions, make sure, it's whoever's the facilitator, that somebody keeps track of the time. Maybe it's the facilitator. It's not that hard to do, because we're putting breakout messages in there. You have 7 minutes left. You have 1 minute left. So they can, we're Toastmasters. We should know how to manage time by now.
Right.
In theory. And it's also very helpful before you send them off. You just type into the chat or have your Zoom master, because you put it in the run of show. These are the 3 questions you'll be answering, and have it in chat. Because I've noticed this happen every time. We're here and we're in one mode, and now we're going into an action mode in the breakout room.
Yes.
And every time we get there and everybody's like, what are we doing?
Oh, yes. Here's another tip. I'm going to put this on that document. Is I facilitated a leadership session recently for Boeing Employees Credit Union. And I got this idea from them. This is what they always do. I said, well, I'm going to have the breakout room guidelines on a slide. He goes, oh, well, just everybody's just going to take a picture of that. And then they have their phone in the breakout room. Doi. I mean,
Wow.
that's brilliant. Take a
Mhm.
picture, or a screenshot, so you have it right there in front of you. It's so easy.
That makes sense. Yeah, because they can't
Totally.
access the slide once they get into the breakout.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your
So
mind, you're transferred over there. It's like being teleported by Star Trek, really. It's just like
yes.
you're in a new world, and now the screen, who's here? And then your mind
Yeah.
goes blank. It's like when I walk in the kitchen, I'm like, why did I walk in here again?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's normal. So that's why if you put it in the chat, then they can pull it up, and then they've got a visual of it.
Right. Yes. Yes. Exactly.
I love the phone idea.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It's a brilliant idea. So as the club officer trainer, you would say, we're going to put this in the chat, but if you have a phone or you want to take a screenshot of this, go ahead and do that now, please. So you'll facilitate that action as well.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and that's all I have to say, unless anybody else has any brilliant things that they want to share.
Well, I have to dig up the material I used in my last training. I know that's one of my problems. I know Rebecca Fisher said she has every speech she's written in a file, and I said, oh, I wish I had done that.
Wow,
I know, it's pretty amazing.
that is amazing.
I want to find the material I used in my last training and then just build on that.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So what session are you going to do, Nadine?
Well, I'm going to do the same one, just
Which is
of
the
membership.
VPPR? Oh, the membership.
Membership,
Great.
right. Mhm.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Very good. And how about you, Roger? You going to teach one?
I somewhat volunteered by saying I was willing to do one, but haven't committed to anything yet.
Okay. All right.
You just know I'm not treasurer.
Well, this spreadsheet this run of show will make it a lot easier for everybody. And maybe I'm thinking because we want people to also have that other document that has all of the name, email address, phone number, links, etc. Maybe I'll put one more line up at the top that specifies that. It really should be. I mean, you could put it at the bottom of the same document, I suppose, too. Yeah.
Roger, what officer are you right now?
I'm VPE right now.
Oh,
VPE.
Oh, VPE.
Oh, wow.
Great.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
I don't want to teach it because I'm still learning. Well, I've done it before, but
I've been doing it for 2 years and I'm still learning.
oh my goodness, there's so much.
There
so
is a
much
lot.
to do. But it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work too.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I have, Linda. Back to you.
Well, I want to make sure I didn't copy the whole thing. How did I do that? I wanted to make sure that we had the survey available.
Okay.
I don't want to forget that. And I was going to have Donna do a closing. So this is your opportunity, Donna.
Okay, thank you, Linda. And thank you, Rebecca, for all the great insightful information. As usual, whenever I hear you speak about whatever topic it is, I always come up with a brand new takeaway that I can use for, in this case, November 5th. So I will be doing that. And I was just going to say, as far as the VPE session for November 5th, that club officer training session is still available as far as getting the trainer assigned. So if you were interested in that, I will be providing my email to everyone. In fact, I'll go ahead and put that in the chat right now. So specifically, Roger, if you wanted to contact me about being a trainer for November 5th, here is my direct information. I think that would be awesome. And I think really, Linda, I said it all at the beginning as far as I did include earlier, I included up at the top of your chat scroll, you will find the URL for the November 5th registration link. And so I encourage, if any of you have not registered for the event yet, Please use that link to register. Whether you are a trainer or some other role holder, we all need to register. And that includes, of course, the general public as well that attends. So please utilize that link. And I am still actively recruiting for various functionary and also educator roles. And so if you, as a helper to me, if you individually have specific people that you would like to reach out to, or that, let them know that this event is coming and that I am still recruiting for certain specific roles, I would appreciate it. And that you would include this email address I provided in with the correspondence to let them contact me. That would be fantastic. And out of everyone here, Roger is the sole member of this particular group tonight that is not part of my role staff. So that's why I was including Roger specifically. But in general, I am still recruiting for roles, and I look forward to a fun and engaging event. And so back to you, Linda.
Thank you, Donna. Good job. I'm reposting the link, and that's not it. Just give me 1 second after I do this part, and I'll repost the link. I'm sorry that it didn't work. I just actually created that survey while we were talking tonight, because I realized I hadn't actually created a survey, and I heard Rebecca say the word survey, and I went bling.
Oh,
So, but
you need a survey for the session? You do? Do you?
I already dropped it in the chat.
Okay.
It
Okay.
doesn't work. So
Oh, okay.
I just went and recopied it, but now I'm back to this screen. So that's why I was like, give me 1 second. But
Okay.
anyway, I just wanted to say thank you to both, because Rebecca is the gal that did the TLI to kick off round 1. And she just did a superb job. I don't know who attended from here, but I can tell you it was awesome. It was very, very well put together. She did a lot of history and had people that were as experienced as Roger, really good people. So they were great keynotes. And then Donna, of course, is kicking off round 2 for us. So I'm super. And Donna, what's your nickname? Tech something? Tech Master?
Yeah, I'm an online business owner as well as a Toastmaster, and I have a lot of technology and engineering expertise. And I like to merge, and that's part of my marketing that I'm currently doing, is I like to merge Toastmasters skills and services that I can provide to Toastmasters in with technology. And so I am marketing myself and preparing education materials as what I'm calling a Tech Master Donna. So I am Tech Master Donna, at least within District 2. That's the way that I'm marketing myself. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a big shout out to Tech Master Donna and to edutainer and professor, because I am taking Rebecca Murray's class, and at the end I'll have you talk about that. But a big shout out and thank you very, very much to both of you, and especially Rebecca for facilitating tonight. I felt so honored when you said yes, that you would come and teach this class. I'm sorry that we didn't have more people show up. We had a lot more people register, but that's the way of Zoom these days. Even I do it myself. I'll register for a class that isn't have anything to do with Toastmasters, and then I get to that moment and I'm like, now I've got something else I want to do. So
Yeah.
that's how that's been going. So anyway, big thank you, round of applause. Good job. We learned a lot.